Breaking the Bank, construction's biggest budget. Fails PLZ, subscribe my channel and share video with others. A mega disaster story. In the glittering world of mega projects, where governments promise miracles, architects dream in steel and glass, and engineers rewrite the limits of possibility, there is a darker side kept hidden behind polished press conferences and glossy concept art. It is a world where billions evaporate overnight, deadlines crumble like dust, and the difference between triumph and disaster can be just one wrong calculation. Welcome to the projects that broke the bank. The story begins in a boardroom filled with optimism. Politicians shaking hands, investors smiling wide, and designers showcasing models of futuristic cities and impossible skylines. Their voices echo with confidence. This will redefine our future. But behind the applause, the trap is already set. A single overlooked detail, a delayed shipment, or a contractor who made a promise he couldn't keep. These are the small sparks that ignite financial infernos. Take, for instance, the billion-dollar transit hub that was supposed to become a symbol of national pride. On paper, the timeline was clean, the budget tight, and the forecast perfect. But the moment construction began, reality struck back. Unexpected geological faults forced crews to dig deeper than ever imagined. Weather delays added months. Officials demanded design changes mid-construction. Every new decision added millions. Soon, what was marketed as a $2 billion masterpiece ballooned past $10 billion, leaving taxpayers furious and officials scrambling to explain what went wrong. But that was just one example. Across oceans, another megaproject was collapsing under its own ambition. A luxury skyscraper built on unstable soil began sinking inch by inch. Engineers rushed to find solutions, but every fix required new crews, new materials, new calculations, and of course, new money. The structure was too important to abandon and too expensive to correct. By the time the final beam was placed, it had tripled its cost and turned into a global cautionary tale. Then came the international airport that became a black hole for money. Every terminal expansion triggered another design upgrade. Every safety improvement required tearing out something already built. Contractors sued each other, deadlines were rewritten, and equipment failures added storms of new expenses. Years behind schedule, the budget had exploded so dramatically that it earned a nickname among workers: the place where money goes to die. But what makes these failures so fascinating isn't just the money, it's the human drama behind them. Managers refusing to admit mistakes, politicians pushing for impossible timelines, contractors cutting corners to stay competitive, and above all, the brutal truth that no matter how advanced our technology becomes, construction remains a battle of unpredictability, ambition, and ego. Some projects recover, barely. Some remain scars on a nation's landscape, and some are abandoned entirely, left as towering skeletons of wasted potential. Yet, there is something strangely addictive about these disasters. They remind us that even the biggest dreams have limits, that a single misstep can send billions tumbling, and that behind every shiny mega project, there is a chaotic story that the public never sees. A story of risks, mistakes, panic, and desperate attempts to save a sinking ship. This is the world of breaking the bank, where budgets explode, timelines collapse, and mega projects stand on the cliff between glory and catastrophe. As crises unfolded across the world's largest work sites, a hidden pattern began to emerge, one that experts now call the domino effect. It starts quietly, almost invisibly. A shipping container arrives late at a port. A crucial machine breaks down. A subcontractor goes bankrupt halfway through their task. One delay triggers another, then another, until the entire project collapses under the weight of dozens of tiny failures. And with every domino that falls, the budget burns faster. Project managers try to fight back, calling emergency meetings, rewriting schedules, flying in specialists, but by then the financial damage is unstoppable. Then there are the political battles, the silent wars fought in government halls. When public money is involved, every decision becomes a battlefield. One minister demands luxurious features to make the project iconic. Another insists on rushing construction to win votes before the next election. Budgets swell, timelines shrink, and engineers are forced to accept impossible demands. In one infamous case, a nation commissioned a massive dam project, but halfway through, a newly elected leader hated the design and ordered major changes. Crews had to rip out structures that cost billions, rebuild them in a new shape, and push the project years behind schedule, just to satisfy political image. By the end, the dam cost almost 4 times its original estimate, and the public was left fuming. But not all budget failures come from mistakes. Some come from nature itself. Beneath the ground lie secrets no blueprint can predict. Engineers digging tunnels have struck pockets of unstable rock so fragile it crumbles like sand. Skyscraper foundations have hit underground rivers that flood entire work zones. Bridges under construction have been battered by storms so severe they undo months of labor in a single night. Nature has no sympathy for budgets. Every time it strikes, costs surge upward like a rocket, dragging the entire project into a financial storm. Some stories are even stranger. In a remote region, workers discovered an ancient archaeological site right under the path of a major highway expansion. By law, construction had to stop immediately. Scientists arrived, fences went up, and excavation teams spent months carefully removing artifacts. Meanwhile, construction crews remained idle, paid but unable to work. The project bled millions every week, stuck between history and modern progress. When the highway finally opened years later, it had become one of the most costly roadways ever built. And sometimes, the disaster lies in the ambition itself. A wealthy nation once attempted to build the world's most advanced smart city, an automated metropolis powered entirely by AI. But the technology wasn't ready. Systems malfunctioned, sensors failed, and buildings had to be redesigned constantly to keep up with new software updates. It became a race against a future that hadn't arrived yet. The city turned into a legendary budget monster, swallowing billions until investors pulled out and development froze. What was meant to be a vision of tomorrow ended up as a ghost town of steel skeletons slowly rusting under the sun. By now, the world has learned that megaprojects are more than engineering feats. They are emotional roller coasters. Behind every towering crane is a team under unbearable pressure. Behind every gleaming render is a budget teetering on the edge of collapse. And behind every groundbreaking ceremony is a silent fear. Will this become the next billion-dollar disaster? Yet despite all the failures, the world keeps building, bigger, taller, longer, and more ambitious than ever. Because the truth is irresistible. As long as humanity dreams beyond its limits, there will always be projects that break records, and projects that break the bank.